Hey everybody, soybean farmer here. Um, Today was Monday, the 14th, and I was so delighted when I saw this corn actually come up in this red clay. This is a field that I've been fighting for 20 years, and it's like a dead spot. I got beans in it once, but you can see the red color. And when I get the drone behind the cultivator, you can actually tell it's clay. Um, Cousin worked this field just as hard as he could work it with the disc before he actually planted this corn, and it was still just large clumps of clay. And if you look down there, you can see that it's difficult at best to break up. That center sweep bit in good, but the two on the outside just don't seem to want to go in as well. But just delighted, beyond delighted that this corn has come up here, and I'm hoping that the rains will stay, steady when needed, and cousin can get in here and cultivate and fertilize. That's what he's doing right here. This is the first cultivation of this field and the first fertilizer application. He wanted to get into it last week, and that would have been kind of on par with what I watched him do last year in a different field. But it went to raining last Tuesday, and it rained Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Um, Over 4 inches total accumulation here. It's about 4 7/10. But he got out there this afternoon and got to going. That's pretty much the soil type there is a lot of sand, more sand than anything else. And he's coming up in a minute on a spot you'll see more red clay. But corn came up in it. So like I was saying, I'm hoping cultivating and fertilizing can get this corn to grow in that red clay. And the end result, of course, you can see the clods there breaking, coming up. End result, I'm hoping, is for a huge amount of organic matter. I was actually thinking when I first started watching this field that, okay, we'll get what we can get, and I'll take the pitchfork and move as much of it as I can up to those red clay spots. I actually did that with sorghum. I put sorghum on this field, let it grow, didn't do anything to it but mowed it back in, just trying to get something in that clay. I have actually hauled leaves out of the forest, blew them with my backpack blower really, over in those red clay spots, and then cut them in with the disc, trying to get something in that red clay. But I think this corn is going to be the first real good chance to get some serious organic matter in that soil out there. It's been needing it. The spot that he's into now is some of the best soil on the farm. Made beans that would have been the equivalent of about 70 bushels to the acre in that location down there on that end of that little field. And I edited out him turning around. He's been taking great care not to mess up the grass down there. And I'd like to say, cousin, thank you very much for that. That grass border on those fields is kind of a project of mine, something I get a lot of joy out of. And there was something that happened right here. Something about it didn't suit him, so he stopped to check it, and I thought it was right funny. He pulled up that piece of morning glory there. Anyhow, the end result was he was looking at, is it level? And he decided that it was not level. You'll see him here in a minute walk around to near side of the tractor and adjust one of the screw links on the lift arm to change it just a little bit. It's the first time he's pulled this cultivator behind that tractor. He brought that tractor here this year. It's a John Deere 2510. I think it's a pretty nice little tractor. It looks good. Well, he got that adjusted and took off again. I just edited out all the slow stuff there. I was amazed watching the sweeps. The rolling things up in front of the sweeps are called Lilliston cultivators. They do a fine job of breaking that crust, and then the sweep comes along and set right. You can see it's throwing it up on the corn, and that takes some pretty precision, tight driving of a tractor to be able to do that. There's a pretty good shot of it. I'm pretty sure if I got out there, especially with the wore out steering on my little Ford, I would ruin a bunch of corn. Of course, that tractor's tight. It's got a good solid steering on it. I had a lot of fun out there flying the drone. I trained all three batteries. He was out there, let's see, it was about 2 hours all total. It's coming back up across that spot. He's worked his way down below that first red clay. There's still, you can see it up there in front, red clay that he's fixing to go into. Okay, we'll have a little bit of music here. Y'all can continue watching Cousin Scott drive his John Deere 2510, pulling his fertilizer applicating cultivator that he put together out of the junk pile last year. I'll be back in a little bit to talk about some of the other things that happened here in this video. Okay, if you're still here watching, you probably noticed the sweep over there on the right side was having a little trouble down there in the red clay, but now it seems to be doing fairly well in the sand, and you can see as it's gotten more into some better dirt, it's dug back in. I don't totally understand all the adjustments on that stuff, but I know Cousin stopped 2 or 3 times messing with it, trying to get it right. But right there, the one on the, like I said, the right side seems to be sweeping dirt up on the hill pretty good. I think it's the, I don't know, I'd just be speculating. Back down there in that really pretty dirt soil. Yeah, Cousin will correct me on that. Got up high just to give y'all a view of what this field looks like. The grass meadow strip between this 2-acre piece and then the 6-acre piece over there's got beans in it, but they seem to be on vacation. They're not growing. They're just sitting there. They got a little dry, and then they got some moisture on them, and of course the grass is trying to take over out there. I've got mixed thoughts about spraying them. I just think they're too early to spray, and the grass is kind of camouflaging some of them from the stinking deer that think they're supposed to go over there and eat them all. Right here you get a pretty good view of how this field slopes off to the side, and if it wasn't for that large coulter Cousin put in the center, that thing would be pushing to the side. And then I got up high, was looking, it was about half done, and made a very rapid descent. I thought it was pretty cool when I was looking at it back on the computer. Moving along through that rich end of the field with the really good soil down there. There was some spots in these rows that corn didn't come up, and there was an interesting effect where you'd have 4 or 5 real big tall plants, and then you just have some little ones. Right there, I was able to get down really low, even though I was getting beeped at for being too close to the corn. But I thought that was a pretty interesting view. It's in a mostly sand there. Something happened here. I don't know. You see me way over there in the background. Cousin was trying to figure it out. I asked him later what was going on, and he said something about the hydraulics were in a bind. I don't totally understand what he was talking about, but it concerned him enough at the time that he stopped and was checking everything. And I got down there pretty close with the drone, like I was pretending like I was helping him check out that whatever it was. I had not a clue what was going on at the time, and I didn't totally understand what he was trying to explain to me. He said it felt like the tractor was in a bind with the hydraulics. Maybe somebody that knows these era John Deere tractors might be able to throw him a hint or a clue as to, get into a discussion with him over on his channel about it and figure it out. Kind of was looking, I know there's a hydraulic line up under there. There's one on the 4020. I've had to replace it when it sprung a leak. And it's right funny right here. He was like, I don't know. Looking around, inspecting, and checking things out a little bit before he got back up on the tractor and got rolling again. And then there was another situation where he had to stop and adjust something and thought he had it right, so he climbed back up on the tractor and he didn't go, I don't know, 20 yards, 40 yards before he was stopped and adjusting something else. But that's the joy of farming with old equipment, most of it that you have, built yourself. But he rolled along here a little ways, and that right there, that's when you get too close behind a piece of equipment with no brake lights and you can just about run into it. He stopped and came back here to check something again. But it's good he's on top of stuff and checking it, and that's how you get the best result with something, is stay on top of it and keep paying attention to it. If it don't sound right, find out what the strange noise is. I know he said he had issue with one of those fertilizer drops was throwing more than the other, so I can tell you standing up there looking in there, they look fairly even to me. There was one time when he stopped with his little cup and cupped out some from one and tossed it into the other one, and then he got to rolling again. Well, I don't know, I've talked pretty much here. I think I'll see if I can put another tune on here to entertain us. If anybody's still here watching. And here's where I figured we ought to have a little bit of high-speed cultivating going on here. Wouldn't it be nice if you could really do that fast? Um, looks kind of funny rolling along like that. But at this point, I thought, let's see how the edge of the field looks. So I turned the camera up that way. Cousin, thank you. You did a fine job on that. I really, really, really appreciate the extra care you put into knowing when to lift that tool and not come out there and tear up that grass. Thank you very much for that. You know, a lot of farmers, I don't know whether they care or not, it's erosion control. If you've got a thick stand of grass around the edge of your field, your dirt's not going that far if you have a bad rain. But if you tear it up, well, you don't have much of an erosion barrier there when you do that.